Hello everyone, welcome back to some more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time, we disproved the Beats' testimony, and some stuff happened, and essentially, we somehow got another all guilty from the jury, so we had to go through a second second summation examination. And the reason for this is because, and during that cross-examination, we basically the entire point of that summation examination was to prove that, the maid, Joan Garrideb, was involved, and essentially, we basically accused her of, stabbing the victim with a knife. Basically because, as you recall, she had a little altercation with her husband amidst flames where she literally threw everything she could get her hands on without looking. So, there's a chance she could have grabbed the knife in question and threw it. Because not only do we find the burnt fourth book at the scene, which is evidence that she was throwing stuff and it landed there, but the jackknife that was lodged in the victim's back is a commonplace folding knife. In other words, just about every house would probably have it. So, with that being said, I'm pretty sure we accused her, she fainted, and then about four of the jurors changed their decision to make the trial continue. So, with that being said, let us continue.
Now then, Lord Van Zieks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed?
This trial is rapidly descending into a farce. Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. But what follows is so repugnant, it's good for nothing save the gutter.
If I may, Lord Van Zieks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened.
Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond. But let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourselves better with the relative positions of those places being discussed.
What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time?
It should already be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garrideb household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. Which means that the distance from the Garrideb's house to the scene is some, 15 yards.
15 yards, that is, around 14 meters. 14 meters? Oh, that's a little farther than I'd imagined.
And, as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance, the fourth book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book, wantonly hurled by the lady of the house, traveled some 15 yards to land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumb. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? And did the jackknife follow a near identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots.
Yeah? So he basically said, what are the chances that all of that happened? There's nothing I can say to that. That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice. Miss Usato. pathetic, are they? Well, I mean, they kind of are. Well, if you enjoy them, you enjoy them, but at the same time. Maybe let's pick our battles here? My lord, might I be allowed to speak?
As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense, yes. Go ahead.
The prosecution may consider the idea a fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to, at the very least, explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. To that end, juror number 4, Miss Joan Garrett, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination.
Saints alive! A cross-examination of a juror?
Huh.
Order! Order! Well, this is highly irregular. It is unprecedented for the member of a jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection!
And unnecessary.
Lord Van Zeeks!
There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth in it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before this couple's eyes. And we must assume they would be able to testify accordingly.
What say you, witnesses? Yes, sir. Constable Rowley, beat reporting for duty, sir.
Oh, well, he's actually awake now.
Well, good morning, officer.
Sorry for dozing till now, sir. I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir.
Oh, they are so heroic, these London bobbies.
Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more.
Oh, Rolly, my hero! You make me swoon. Wow, so we're actually going to get testimony from him this time, okay.
Very well. I hereby reject the defense's request,
Oh,
and order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events.
Yes, sir.
alright, he's actually awake this time.
This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garrideb house are top-hinged casements.
Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty roadie was there to make sure nothing was disturbed.
I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir. Well, this is quite startling. Top-hinged casement windows.
That detail was not in the police report, Constable.
Yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy.
You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable.
No, sir.
Sorry, but what exactly is a top-hinged casement window?
And you cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend.
Of course. Sorry.
I found it, Mr. Naruhodo. Cast your eye back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's room.
Alright, I'll try.
So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house.
Oh, the top part opens up. Oh, so it doesn't open along the bottom part, it opens at the top, meaning if something were to be thrown out, it would have landed directly beneath the window, essentially, outside. Because it would have hit the thing and gone down, directly downwards.
I'm glad you rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature is its stay, a metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount.
It prevents it opening? This is all news to me.
Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife were to have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below.
No.
You see the problem then? Good. Your education in windows is complete.
Okay. So that means, what's it called? Here's where the Gyarados household is. In other words, if it would have fallen right over here, right across the street from the area, huh? Okay.
There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered, something we've discounted already.
That can't be.
Did you see that, Rowley? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony.
Oh, yes, my darling.
Wait, why was he talking there? That was weird.
Oh, yes, my darling. I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before.
Wait a second. Oh, they're switched. How did I not miss that? How did I miss that? Whatever.
Oh, Rolly, you're so strong.
How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed.
Counsel, if you would drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination.
My lord. Oh good, another desperate situation. Well, better than nothing, right? Constable Beats report. Nothing to do with them, okay. Windows on top floor are top hinged casements, okay. Man, nothing was disturbed. Are you sure about that?
Hold it!
You sure nothing was disturbed? Yes, you said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer. Is that right? Ooh, we have these again. In other words, somebody about to react. Okay.
That's right, yes. If it had been on Rowley's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course.
Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box on every beat.
So Rowley told me the way. Only, I sort of got a little lost on the way.
Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your turbo sense of direction is bewitching to me.
Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rowley.
Oh, please.
So, I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. But like I said, my Rowley was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed.
I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty, sir.
Huh. Okay. If anything had been thrown out, we would have seen it.
Hold it!
Let's hit this one. How can you say that for certain?
A very good question. Oh, a very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty.
He showed us that before, didn't he?
Did he? I can't say I remember. He did.
To patrol the streets of London and town and uphold the peace of the common man. That's what the job's all about. And that is why I can stand here today beside my long-suffering wife, and tell you Bobby's good for his word. While rubbing my tired eyes admittedly, sir!
Oh, Rolly, you're so manly.
Is he though?
Of course I am, my darling Patricia.
Brother, not this again. No, none of this is what I meant. I meant, how can you say for certain this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett?
Ah, I see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir.
Yes, well, so, could you answer the question? That was a waste of time then.
Absolutely, sir. I will answer to the fullest of my abilities, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's domestic dispute can't be related to this case. But before I get into that, sir, just one thing.
Yes?
I'd very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. So, I hope you'll take back some tales of us London bobbies about how we uphold our guiding principles.
I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here.
So, to that end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears.
Thank you. I'll try. Okay then. Well then, I guess let's look through it. We got a new piece of evidence, so we may as well look through it. A small folding wall that identifies London bobbies and contains the rules of conduct to which they must adhere. So, they must preserve the beat. They're expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day. Actually, wait, now that I think about it, let me see how long it takes to walk 20 miles, because... How long to walk? Yeah, wait, what? Yeah. It would take a person around 5 hours to walk 20 miles at a normal pace. 5 hours at a normal pace. At a relaxed pace, which is more than likely what they're walking, it's around 6 hours, 6 and 3/4 hours. And if you're walking at a fast pace, you're walking at about 3 hours and 30 minutes. Okay. And when you think about it, they're not just walking the 20 miles, they're patrolling, they're cleaning the area and such, right? And doing all the stuff that people really could just allot to someone else, or what's called outsourced to someone else. In other words, alright, so I guess it does take them the whole day. Okay. Alright. I'm just looking at something here for a second. I was looking at the time it takes. See the next page. Any crimes that fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigation and help detectives. Ah, I see. So that's why what's called Rolly told Patricia to get the other guy's beat. So that, since it happened on your beat, you gotta assist with the investigation, no matter what time and thing, huh? Okay, that's interesting enough. Top-hinged casements, okay. By which you mean they don't open fully, is that correct?
Yes, sir. They're just there to allow a bit of air through the house, you see. So, they're restricted as to how much they open.
And therefore anything thrown out of the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Here is the location where the objects would have fallen.
Yes. Directly opposite the scene of the crime, on the other side of the rather wide road.
Would it have been so hard for somebody to mention this top-hinged casement thing before? Well, I have another question for you, Constable.
And what would that be, sir?
How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house is furnished with?
Ah, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday.
Oh,
Excuse me!
what was that you said? Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry? You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that?
Oh, I was just remembering, that's all. We really were so lucky.
Lucky? What do you mean?
Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rowley's beat. It was so close, you see.
Oh, I hadn't realized. Right. Because what we just read, literally, if it happened on your beat, you gotta help with the investigation. That's right.
Oh yes, that street, Briar Road. That's the boundary between Rowley's beat and the next one. Isn't that right, my love?
What is my voice coming to? Oh. Constable Beat. Yeah?
Yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupants of the Garrideb household yesterday. The house was on my beat, you see, sir.
Huh. That really was cutting it close then. Yeah, if it was right across the street, then it'd be on your beat.
Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Garrideb household is on your beat, does that mean that if the pavement next to it is as well?
Outside Mr. Garrideb's house? Yes, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat.
I see. I was unaware of that.
Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road, we would never have been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. But that's the life for Bobby after all.
Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners.
Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Rudy for all his hard work.
Yeah, have a close shave?
Don't you think so, my darling?
Well, that must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it.
I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record.
Leave it to me, Mr. Naruhodo. I'll take care of it immediately.
Alright. Good. Now then. Back to the testimony. We have, I think, everything we need.
Hold it!
Let's continue further and see what we can scrummage up. But, according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already and it was dark.
Oh, but Rhodey and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for our lucky star.
Sorry?
The star that will guide us to eternal happiness.
Can it guide you to answer the question, please?
If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have been lit up like a shooting star.
And if I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. Let Rowley be an inspector, I would have said. 3 times at least.
Of course, what with the smog and everything, we couldn't actually see the stars.
In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you?
Yes, sir. That is correct, sir. As sure as the night sky in London is starless, sir.
Huh. Certainly seems like they're telling the truth.
And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but...
Oh wait, no, I read this already. I believe it is this part here. Alright, now that we have evidence and we've done... Oh no, this game and a few others does something weird where like you have to press one piece of testimony before the next one for a different result. Which is weird, to be honest. Got lost on the way. Okay. Gone for 15 minutes. Ooh! Oh no. Thought there was something special. Okay. Nothing there. Huh. What is she saying here? She requested the cross-examination without consulting you. We would have asked for consulting her anyways. Yeah, we do need her testimony, but at the same time. Well, think about it. No matter how far it is across the road or how that window opens, Mr. Garrett's book found its way to the scene of the crime somehow, didn't it? In other words, they have to be involved. And then there was Mrs. Garrett's reaction to me showing her the knife. The woman's hiding something, I'm sure of it. Alright. What? Okay. I'll look at the last statement, see if we got anything.
Hold it!
Nothing to report.
That's correct, sir. I had my eyes open the entire time. Never looked away for a second.
No one else approached the scene, and nothing else was removed from it. I swear that on the yard's honor, sir. Really? That seems a little strange.
Beg your pardon, sir. Strange, sir. Seems altogether regular to me.
This burnt copy of The Lion's Pride was originally in the Garrett household. So, the question remains, how did it find its way into the hand of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as how you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? Wow, actual logic. Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One that just so happened to be burnt as well? Yeah? You're telling me a different copy of the same book that was also burnt found its way over? Yeah. Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As we can see from the photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder.
Well, sir, the book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene.
Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries of how that knife ended up in her back, and how that book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread between them. Ah, good. Something new.
Can I ask you something, please, Mr. Lawyer, sir?
Oh, yes, sure, of course. What is it?
You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell.
What? I wasn't really... what's she doing? Oh, I see what she's doing. Literally trying to say, you're doubting the Scotland Yard. Oh.
Please, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony any less valuable.
Lady, I don't know if you haven't realized, but I have a woman right next to me that's basically the smartest person I know,
You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word, I am.
I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you.
No excuses. I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you?
Yes, Mrs. Beach, I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one.
That was a very loud mutter.
I heard that. That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's word counts for nothing, does he? Well, watch out, sir. I might let you get away with it, something like that, but my Rolly won't.
Your Rolly is fast asleep. Duly noted, Mrs. Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue.
What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder?
Why do I keep doing that? Seriously. I'm like 20-something episodes in. Yeah, I'm 20-something episodes in. And you're telling me I still can't read? I still have like word mistakes? I still stutter? Like, what is happening? Whatever.
I know what I saw. My eyes never let me down. My sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though.
Oh. Forgot. What do you mean by that exactly? Mrs. Beats, nobody is questioning what you've told us.
I saw it. I did. That evening. I saw it clearly. That little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny curved back, slinking away from the scene.
Ah.
And I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky.
All very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction.
Oh, yes. Well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up at the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rowdy. He gets ever so cross.
Excuse me.
Constable Beat, is there a problem?
No, sir. No problem, sir.
Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps?
Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering that the same thing happened that evening, is all.
You did mention something like that. You mean Miss Beat lost her way? On the night of the incident?
Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box on the next beat over from mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than what I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone a good 15.
Oh, Rolly, you're such a tease. But the reason why I was so long was because of the bouquet, silly.
The bouquet?
Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about?
Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rowdy's so romantic. He saved up for it with farthings and halfpennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds.
Yes, how romantic.
I'd forgotten all about it until just now. Had you, my darling? Or had you, my darling?
Yes. But that was just between us. No talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to promise...
Really? Oh.
What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange.
I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr. Naruhodo. But I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Miss Beat about the bouquet.
Mrs. Beat, this bouquet you just mentioned, I'd like you to add details about it to your testimony, please.
Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to.
Vansink's news about the bouquet dropped and ended up losing my way for a second.
Hold it!
Just where did you drop it exactly, please? You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime? Yeah, where did you drop it?
Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back, I was so shocked I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice at first.
And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on.
Yes, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
It wasn't. In case you need reminding, Mrs. Beat, the victim is not deceased. Well, I mean, you could still say the victim's body because you could still say his body, so thing.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road.
Your husband, presumably.
That's right. Silly me. I gone over to the wrong side of the street.
Huh. It was nowhere near the body. But it was actually on the other side of the street. Wait, what? So... when we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back, I dropped the bouquet. In other words, they were walking down they were walking down Rowley's beat. Just for reference, let me see something here. So they were going down this street, down Rowley's beat. She sees the body, drops the bouquet, then runs over to the other side of the road, I guess. And then I guess she ran back to the other thing, I guess? Huh. Okay, sorry. Something just interrupted me there. Anyways, as I was saying, they were walking on this road and then the incident must have happened across the street, I guess? Huh. Okay, we're back again. Sorry. Just some stuff's happening in the background here. Anyways, yeah, so it looks like they, I guess the incident must have happened here and they, walked down the street, because if she found it, what's called across the street, that means it was over here by Mr. Greatup's area they were walking down. Okay. Anyways. Let's see here.
Although, I want to blame the bouquet this time. I can't think how it got there. I really can't.
So, the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite?
Curious indeed.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is I forgot to pick the bouquet up again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rowley bought me, with that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry solitary rose?
Oh, yes, that's it. That's the bouquet Rowley bought me for our anniversary, with old bits of change he found in the gutter.
Maybe just call it a rose?
Tell us, Lord Van Zeeks, where did you come by the flower?
According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Greatup household.
In front of the Greatup's house?
Although it wasn't noticed until morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case, since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. Could I have it back now, please?
No, I think for good measure this rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Oh.
Well, such is life. A symbol of our love. Oh, good, we can examine it. Huh. I expected to see a lot more.
An English rose. It's such a beautiful flower.
Ah, this is a rose, is it? I've never seen one before.
Do you not take an interest in flowers, Mr. Naruhodo?
I wouldn't say that exactly, but I do know three types at least.
Gosh, 3?
Yes, plum blossom, peach blossom, and cherry blossom.
Perhaps you should consider branching out? Learning some that aren't fruit tree based, for example?
Well, doesn't seem like there's much else. Very stylish paper the flowers wrapped in, isn't it?
It's just an old newspaper, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh. I suppose it's because I'm not used to seeing English print. It looks so exotic to me.
Ah, I see.
Is something wrong?
Oh, no. I was just thinking that if you wrap the stone-baked sweet potato in English newspaper, it might look like some sort of fancy cake.
Ah, Susato-san, you do love your cakes. Alright. You want... Okay, you'll get it back after the trial, okay. But, now that we have the new evidence, we can do some stuff. Nothing was disturbed. Okay. How do we want to do this? Nothing strange. The rose is probably what we have to start off with, so we can either present it at Mr. Beat's testimony, or we can present it at her testimony that nothing was changed. So, let's quickly save over here. Number 5. Oh, look at that. It's 2022, 22. It's the 22nd. It's 10/22 on the 22nd day. Ha, look at that. Anyways, so how do we want to do this? Nothing was disturbed. Do we present the rose here?
Objection!
Yes. Great. You claim, Constable Beat, there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be.
What? What do you mean to say?
In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with a policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection! Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs.
Meager?
Objection!
But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact?
No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case.
Oh, it has everything to do with the case. Because it was there at the time. No, because sadly it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around.
What are you talking about?
Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garrideb's book. Mr. Garrideb's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out the window by his wife, would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here, on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here, on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here, on the opposite side of the road, in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house. There's no logical explanation for those things, unless somebody deliberately moved them.
What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rowley's done something wrong.
Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says. Whittering on about books and bouquet. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is.
Oh good, Mr. Garrideb's come round. You might call it nitpicking, Mr. Garrideb, but deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called,
tampering, Mr. Naruhodo.
But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection! Tampering. You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have led cause to carry out such an elaborate deception?
Yes, there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person.
Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime?
Well, when you think about it, it's not that hard. It has to be Rolly Beat. Reason why is because, well, simply put, he had the means of doing it because, he looked strong enough to carry someone. Plus, it was just on the other side of the road at night, so he literally could have dragged the person over and got the witness. He had opportunity because, if you recall, his wife left him to go to the other police box for a total of 15 minutes? That's enough time to move an entire crime scene, especially one as small as that. Plus, he had the means. What? Oh, this is my headphones. Sorry, I'm hitting the volume slider on my headphones without realizing it. Anyways, yeah. As for the motive, we'll see that shortly.
Take that!
Obviously, there's only one person it could have been.
Constable Rolly Beat. It was you.
What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard?
What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London.
Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it.
You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about the Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection!
If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it.
Oh.
And forgive me for pointing out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene.
Well...
Objection!
First, you make accusations about the landlord and his wife. And now, you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lay in lack of one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there was only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime. To hide something.
That's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there. That's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense.
You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats.
Well, the motive isn't hard when you think about it. Constable Beat had a pretty good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair.
Mr. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve this mystery?
Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering.
Yes, my lord. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide. Well, when you think about it, the only thing that really matters would have to be where the victim fell. Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs.
What?
Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road. We saw it happen, remember? It was right here. as if anyone didn't already know.
That's certainly what everyone has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all.
What? What?
I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Counsel.
If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening?
Well, easily on the other side of the street where the bouquet was found.
Take that!
But that's...
On the opposite side of the road?
I don't understand.
On the evening in question, Mr. Gerda's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Miss Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself.
Good gracious!
Objection!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony this court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place.
That's right. I saw it with my own eyes.
It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road. Briar Road.
No, that's not true. It can't have been.
Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print. The victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road.
Extraordinary!
But the constable overlooked one thing.
What? What did he overlook?
The bouquet, I presume.
Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zeek said it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light.
Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously.
Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position, on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond, Constable Rowley Beat?
Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important?
Yeah, bro? You slept through our entire accusation of you?
It isn't true, is it? What that lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know.
I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything exposed.
Yeah, bro?
Only, it seems... it wasn't a dream at all. Good golly! Order! Order! What on earth is the meaning of all this?
Oh, really? Oh, wait. No, that was the wrong voice. Wow, I am really messing up today. Guess I'm off my game.
Oh, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it?
Wishing the victim dead should be one too.
Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London Town. I can't say, sir.
What?
I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation. For everything.
I have a possible explanation. For why, on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason.
What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman.
And yet, Lord Van Zeeks, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence.
At once, my lord. Well, yeah, human emotions are the same. And it's basically been alluded to this entire time.
Take that!
If we look inside the second page of the warrant card, we can find... I realize that I'm just a foreigner in this land, and I have only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding job in the world, for example.
Keeping the peace, looking after citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly.
But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special.
Special? How?
On account of this bouquet, my lord.
Oh, yes. It was our very first wedding anniversary.
Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal.
When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road.
When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them, what must have gone through the man's mind?
But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat puts up a lot with being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care.
This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend to me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable Beat. Is that, or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Because, yeah, since it happened on his beat, he technically has to be forced to essentially, let's go help out with the investigation, which basically would cancels the meal and everything. So it's like, you know?
Yes. Everything you said, it's all right.
So, that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat.
Oh,
Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat.
Good gracious! Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done? It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Putt, or the criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then, it dawned on me. I realized where we were where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight, of all nights? Why? It's a couple's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat that she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the beat next to mine, Pat. So, you'll have to go to the police box that covered it. Turn right along Meerschaum Street, and then...
And then when she came back, he used her lack of sense. When she came back, he used her lack of direction sense to, what's it called, basically trick her, to cover up the bases or whatever. Ah, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Constable.
I just wanted, just that one night, to take my Patricia out for dinner.
Oh, Rolly.
Just that one night.
You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care.
You see, I thought, well, I was sure that the victim was dead, you see. I beg your pardon?
Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Rolly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement.
Ah, I see your meaning now. But God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat.
Oh no, Rolly. That was all my fault. I should never have dropped in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Rolly.
And can you tell us, Constable, how many books did you move from the one side of the road to the other in total?
Huh? Oh, 4 it was. Yes, sir. Definitely 4.
3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garrett household, of course.
But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean.
Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it.
How you found it? What do you mean?
When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding?
Oh, yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir.
Huh. Interesting. Huh. So it was already in the victim's hand at the time. Okay.
I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you know. You see, there were only 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off. Who'd done it, I thought.
I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a drop of difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it.
My lord.
Yes, Lord Van Zieks.
I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of my Rolly? What will happen to him?
For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please, don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late.
Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired.
All right then, my love.
One last thing, Constable. Sir? Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you.
Yes, sir.
Carve that lesson in your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime.
Never again, sir. You mean to say...
Leave. Now. This trial is not yet over.
Sir!
Well, that's nice of him, letting him keep his job in the end. Alright, though. I think this is a good chance to end it. We're like an hour and 7 minutes in. Yeah, this is a great chance to end it. So, next time we are going to continue on. And hopefully we can cross-examine Mrs. Garrett. I mean, the book was already in her hand when, what's it called, Beat found it, so I can only hope that's enough evidence. So, yeah. Anyways, with that being said, I will see all of you next time.